Coming up on the Post Kentucky preview show, we're going to talk about the Palmetto Bowl last Saturday, the big matchups around the country, and to see if South Carolina can complete that dream season.
SEC Championship edition of the Post Kentucky coming at you.
Welcome to the SEC Championship edition of the Post Kentucky preview show. I'm Jace, Jarrell alongside Ryan Mace. To start things off this week, the Palmetto Bowl was last Saturday as Clemson hosted South Carolina to renew an old rivalry. It was a good game down in Death Valley. How did it turn out?
Well, Clemson got off to a good start. They had an early touchdown, took an early lead, but after that it was basically all Carolina. Garcia ended up throwing for over 220 yards, a couple of touchdowns. Jeffrey had over 100 yards receiving. They were able to stop Marcus Lattimore, but usually that's the key for a defense to be successful, but they just couldn't get it going, and Carolina ended up winning it 29-7.
Yeah. Is there any particular player who just, shined during that game?
I think Alshon Jeffrey was a big key. Garcia was able to look to him. He only had 5 catches, but averaged about 25 yards a catch, I believe, and had a touchdown, so he was the main target for Garcia and definitely made it a lot easier for him.
Yeah, it had to be disappointing for the Clemson fans, and their team didn't even show up to play. A bunch of big games around the country this week as we've got the ACC Championship as Virginia Tech plays Florida State. Should be a good game. We've got the Big 12 Championship, Oklahoma, hosting Nebraska. It's starting to become a rivalry almost, out there. And, Oregon plays Oregon State. It's not, a conference championship, but it's got, national championship, implications as if, Oregon can win. They'll go undefeated this year and, pretty much lock in their spot. And, of course, the SEC Championship has Auburn playing South Carolina in a rematch, pretty much. And, South Carolina looking to, win their first SEC championship.
Mm-hmm. I think this is probably the biggest game in school history. They won the ACC title back in '69, but since then there hasn't been a lot going on. And they've probably had 2 of the biggest games this year. They beat #1 Alabama earlier in the year. It's the first time they ever beat a top-ranked school. And they were able to beat Florida to get into the SEC championship game. So I think this is definitely going to be a big game for South Carolina.
Yeah, a lot of news this week involving Cam Newton and his eligibility for the game. You think this is going to affect the way he plays?
He's dealt with this for the past couple of weeks. Obviously had a good performance against Georgia. Got up to a slow start last week, but was able to lead Auburn back from a 24-0 deficit. And I really don't think that's been bothering him, and I don't expect it to this week either.
Talking about the SEC Championship, for Carolina, who do they need to have play well and to have a good game and stay with this Auburn offense?
I think Steven Garcia has to play well. He did pretty well in the Week 4 matchup between the 2 teams, but had some second-half turnovers and was ultimately pulled at the end of the game for Connor Shaw. But I think if he can play well and hold on to the football, I think Carolina will have a good shot to win, because if they can score on this Auburn defense, then they should have a good shot.
Yeah, and with all the allegations out of the way and Cam Newton not thinking about it, can he have a big game still?
Definitely. I think he's obviously a Heisman candidate. Runs for over 100 yards a game. They're one of the top schools in the country in rushing yards a game, so I think that he's definitely going to have a big day.
What does Auburn need to do as a team collectively to walk away with another title?
I think that they need to stop Marcus Lattimore. He was a non-factor in the first game, and obviously that took away one dimension from Carolina. They basically just threw the ball, couldn't really get the running game going. So they can stop him and then force some turnovers. I think their offense is obviously going to have some success, but as long as they can contain Lattimore, force Garcia to throw the ball, maybe into some mistakes, they should have a good shot.
And for South Carolina, it'll be their first SEC championship if they can pull off this dream season, the end of it. And what do they need to do? They need to play well.
I think Garcia is going to need to play well. As I said earlier, he's been playing well the past couple of weeks. Played a good game down in Florida. Had an easy match against Troy, but I think if he can play well, the Gamecocks will have a good shot. And Marcus Lattimore's going to need to get going. He was kind of kept quiet last week at Clemson, but if he can run the ball well, then Auburn's going to have some trouble, I think, with South Carolina.
Yeah, Auburn's got a kind of shaky defense. See if the Gamecocks can exploit that. What do you think the score for the game will be?
Well, I think I'm going to go against the grain this week and pick Carolina. I think they have the team to do it. This is almost a team of destiny. You could say that for Auburn with their come from behind wins this year, but I think that Carolina's going to win the game, and I think it's going to be 35-32.
It'll be an interesting game this week in Atlanta. We'll see if South Carolina can pull off the dream and win the SEC championship for the first time in school history. For Ryan Mace, I'm Jace Jarrell. This has been the Post and Cocky Preview Show.